Okay, after you have done all the practices, you are ready to turn over your paper. You're going to unfold it and you're going to use the entire sheet of paper. You are then going to draw, and I'm going to keep pretending what I've been pretending, your actual object. And the trick is to not stress out and decide you can't do it. Just like when you built your maquette, you have to realize that all this crazy stuff I've had you do for the drawing will make sense if you slowly start piecing it together for the drawing of your object. So step one, whenever you do a 2-point perspective drawing, is you're going to need to get yourself a bigger ruler, and you are going to draw a horizon line all the way across the top. You are still going to make your 2 vanishing points. Put Sue on the left. Put Fred on the right. Then, as you look at your object, you have to decide, do I have a short object or a tall object? So I have a short one. So when I draw my first vertical line, I'm still going to be closer to Fred than to Sue. But because I have a short object, I'm going to draw a shorter line. If I had a tall object, then I would draw a tall line. Once I've drawn my vertical one, I do what I've always done, which is connect it to Sue. On the top and the bottom, and connect it to Fred. Then I need to reevaluate my object again. Before we were just making cubes. So when we made our second vertical, we just scooched this over until this space looked like the side of a cube. But now we have to decide, do I have a long standing object or do I have a short object? So mine, relative to its size, is really long. So therefore, I'm going to scoot this ruler over until this space here looks like the side of my tape dispenser. So to me, that looks about there. I'm going to make sure that my ruler is straight up and down. I'm going to draw it across, and I'm going to label this V2. Now, just the same as before, once I draw a vertical 2, it's already connected to Sue, so now I'm going to go connect it to Fred. Okay, now I'm ready for vertical 3. Again, I'm not just going to start drawing, I'm going to look at my object. This side of my object is much shorter than the other side. So when I do vertical 3, I'm going to scooch this over until this space right here looks the equivalent of what I need on this side. Just like before, once I've drawn vertical 3, it's already connected to Fred, but I do need to come over and connect it to Sue. Okay, now, just like when we built our maquettes, we looked at our objects and decided, does the object, what shape have I already drawn, does the object resemble? Well, as I look at my object, for the most part, it has 6 sides. It has a top, a bottom, and then 4 sides all the way around. So because of that, I'm going to draw it just like I did the initials of my name. However, if you look at yours and you have a shape that is pyramid, then you're going to use those skills. If you have a shape that's cone-like, then you're going to use those skills. If you have a shape that's sphere-like, then you're going to use those skills. So you're going to reapply. And I picked this object because it actually has all of those. So you can keep watching and see how I apply the different sections. So step 1, I start at the bottom, just like I did with my maquette. The bottom line here is just a straight, strong line, which is what it is here. I then go up to the next side and I see that this has 2 angles. Well, we know that we can draw diagonals wherever we want on the paper. So all I have to do is take my ruler over and just draw in one side draw those angles where I think they go. Then I move on to the other side. I've got another set of angles here. Again, these are just diagonals, so I can draw them in wherever I want. Finally, I have a big curve. We learned from doing the circles and from doing your name that all I need to do for curves is give myself dots of where I think the curve goes, twist my paper so I'm at a good angle, finally, right here, this is a horizontal, so therefore with horizontals we know I have to go ahead and connect that to Sue. Once I've drawn one side of my object, just like building my maquette, I now just go and draw the other side of my object. This line continues straight to the end, so since that is a horizontal line, I have to connect to Fred. I go backwards in space, I look at this spot right here, this word goes backwards in space to Fred. This section here is just a diagonal, so I can draw it in wherever I want. This line here is just a diagonal, so I can draw it in wherever I want. And then the line connecting the two of them, that's a horizontal, so we always, with horizontals, connect back to Fred. Now I would say this angle I gotta redraw. There we go. Okay, I'm now at this corner right here, which means this is gonna have to connect back to Sue. I'm right here now, which means this is another angle that's horizontal that connects back to Fred. Finally, I'm going to come back around over here. I have this curve I'm going to copy. Since it is this curve right here, I can just kind of pretend it's going to come up. If I copy this curve, and it's going to come over, and it's going to come around. So it's going to pop out like this. And then this is a diagonal headed back to Fred. From this point, you can freehand in all of the details. Also, you can go in and say, now wait a second, this doesn't look quite right. It's way too pointed here and it's elongated here, so I actually want to bring this line out a little bit further. So this is where you can go in and nitpick your shape and edit to match what you think it should actually do. Same to draw this circle in at the top. You could use your vanishing points, but really for the details, you can just come in here and free draw it in, and that's totally okay. If you were going to take drawing one, I would expect you to go ahead and do it all out correctly. You would erase all of this inside component, and the trick is you have partners. Talk to your partners. Figure out what are they doing that works and help coach each other through it.